Hi, and welcome to Let's Get Distracted, episode 37. Today we're going to talk about why should we celebrate the pelvic floor. But first, I'm Michelle Burke, coming to you live from Annapolis, Maryland. Many of you know after 30 years as a CPA in the corporate tax world, I went out on my own in January and created Health and Taxes. There are only two things certain in life: death and taxes. I'm here to help you flip that to health and less taxes. I come to you live every Sunday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern to bring you something educational, to get you distracted, and to help you learn something about health and wellness. And tonight I have with me Julie Blamphin. Welcome, Julie.
Thank you, Michelle. I'm so happy to be here.
Happy to have you. So, I want to educate all of you on what is the pelvic floor and why we should celebrate it. Julie Blamphin grew up in Western New York in her mother's school of gymnastics. She began teaching in the early 80s. As a coach for kids with special needs, her focus was primarily yoga posing. From this early experience, she committed her life's work to people with specific challenges. After spending years on the stage as a singer and performer, Julie is known for her positive, joyful energy, and I can attest to that. Since her entrepreneurial career launch in 2009, she continues to inspire through her work with this Celebrate the Pelvic Floor. Julie holds certificates as a sport yoga instructor, certified yoga teacher, a laughter yoga leader, and pelvic floor yoga teacher. So, with that, Julie, welcome.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here again. Thanks, Michelle, for bringing me on and featuring pelvic floor wellness.
Absolutely, it's a great topic. A lot of people don't understand what that is, so we're here to educate people tonight. So, with that, why don't you tell us, Julie, a little bit more about your story, how you came to celebrate the pelvic floor, come to creating that?
Yes. So, as you mentioned, I'm a yoga teacher. I've been teaching some form of body movement ever since I could move my body. I was literally teaching as a teenager. Kids with special needs, and my first little student was paralyzed from the waist down, and she was a little darling, and she loved her gymnastics, but it was more like yoga. It was flexibility and balance and strength, and we were doing butterfly and table and frog and all these fun little yoga poses. This teeny little tiny little girl working with me. And then fast forward, I've been teaching people with specific needs ever since then, through different career choices along the way. Celebrate the Pelvic Floor began about 6 years ago. I was teaching mostly private practice yoga for about 8 years at that point, and I started to recognize the staggering amount of women who are struggling with pelvic floor and core instability. My mother being one of them. She's my co-founder of Celebrate the Pelvic Floor, and I just started educating myself and really honing my focus to working more with women, and specifically in this niche.
Well, I think that's wonderful because I did not really understand what the pelvic floor was. And I also didn't fully understand until recently how important it was. So, why don't you start by telling us, our audience, a little more, what is the pelvic floor?
Yeah, I'm happy to tell you. Pelvic floor, that beautiful sacred space. So, the pelvic floor is a whole bunch of muscles at the floor of the pelvis. It connects at the front of the body at the pubic bone, at the back of the body at the tailbone, and on the sides at the ischial tuberosities, which are the sit bones, or the sits bones, if you're familiar with that term. Um, it has a lot of responsibilities, this pelvic floor area. It basically is our support for the internal organs, the rectum, the bladder, and in women, the uterus. It helps us with urinary and bowel function. It aids us in sexual activity, orgasm in men and women, and erection in men. And it's the foundation of our core. It's our place of stability. It is, energetically speaking, our place of joy and calm, and yet it's also our place of fear and shame. So, unfortunately, many, many, many people, especially women, are struggling with instability in the pelvic floor, whether it be fear and shame or tightness, weakness, leakage, urge, pressure, bulging, and emotionally speaking, just feeling disconnected from this sacred space, emotionally, energetically, sexually. And so, this is our mission here at Celebrate the Pelvic Floor, to not only physically stabilize your pelvic floor, but also to connect you to this area, this sacred space.
Wonderful. I mean, very important, very sacred, something that we all connect with, whether we know it or not, right? So, tell me a little more. I think you're answering a little bit of why it's so important, but tell me a little more about how we'd go about celebrating it. What is it that we need to do to celebrate that pelvic floor?
So, if I could really go into the statistics of the amount of women who are struggling, I mean, it's not even, I don't think, and I've also heard that it's not even appropriately represented. The statistics are staggering, but there are so many women who are suffering in silence. There are so many who don't even talk about it because of social stigma, because it's embarrassing, because none of us actually want to admit that we leak. We don't want to admit that we feel pain with sex. We don't want to admit that maybe we feel some of our internal organs falling down the vaginal canal. I mean, some of these topics, some of this stuff is pretty profound and quite a burden. So I imagine that there are many more women who are not even admitting this to their doctor, their partner, themselves. So that's one of the reasons I think that we should be celebrating this space. First of all, it's part of our body, and every part of our body should be celebrated, whether it's wreaking havoc on our lifestyle or not. But it's our place of creation. It's our place of growth, and it's where we all began. I mean, this is a pretty special place, this sacred feminine space, this this place of sexuality, sensuality, creation, creativity, and this place of joy. Even if it's presenting challenge in our lifestyle, it still deserves celebrating. And in that vein, that's when we can start to heal.
Got it. Well, that's really helpful. Carrie, thanks for joining us. And yes, it's great that we have Julie here to educate us and talk about this. So appreciate you joining in. And Addie, thanks for joining us as well. So I know you said a little bit about we deny it to ourselves, or we don't know ourselves. And it could be something just as simple as leaking when you sneeze, or laughing.
Yes.
And so maybe people think that's normal, or maybe it's just them, and they don't even really realize there's something they can do about it, right?
Exactly. I can't tell you how many women I've talked to who leak when they laugh, sneeze, cough, run, jump, play, dance, go to the gym. So many women just stop working out, or stop dancing, or stop playing with their children, or getting down on the floor to cuddle with their dog, or going out for a nice long day with girlfriends to shop or to stroll or something like that, because they leak. And or we do it anyway, and we just get used to it. I can't tell you how many times I've heard that too. Oh yeah, I leak, but it's no big deal. I'm like, yeah, it is a big deal, because you don't need to be leaking. You don't need to be paying for pads for the rest of your life, or leak-proof panties. That is not something that actually needs to happen. This is so common. Leakage is so common. It would blow your mind, but it doesn't mean it's normal.
Right. And I think that's why we're having this conversation, to just let people know that, and let them know that there's something simple as the right breathing and yoga movements that could potentially help them with these problems and not have to deal with anymore. I think that's wonderful. Hey, Julie, I know you often say, just because we're tight doesn't mean we're strong. Right. Tell our audience what that means.
Yes. So that is on point, I think, in so many ways. So especially for us women, and I'm generalizing here, but don't get me wrong, we tend to be doers. We've maybe have some lists of things to do. We get shit done every day. We just get it done, right? And when we don't, we feel anxious maybe to get it done. Well, we do that in so many different ways, whether it's our to-do list, or whether it's getting onto the yoga mat and doing all that power practice, or maybe it's I've got to go for a run every single day, doesn't matter, rain or shine, or I need to take care of the kids and do everything for the kids and the partner and the friends and say yes all the time. Well, this creates tension, right? We often think, okay, because I'm strong, because I'm getting shit done, because I'm moving and shaking and getting, all of these things checked off the list, because I'm so proactive energetically, that I'm good, right? And so we think that as well when we're talking about our bodies. Just because we're tight doesn't mean we're strong. Just because we're busy doesn't mean we're actually being effective with our time. So when I say just because we're tight doesn't mean we're strong, sometimes, let's say we're working out, right? All the time. Sometimes I have women who come to me and say, whoa, I'm doing my Kegels every day, right? Kegel exercises were these wonderful. I mean, it's brilliant. Don't get me wrong. But back in the 40s, a gynecologist, Alfred Kegel, came up with this concept that, hey, if we squeeze those muscles in the vaginal canal, we can help to strengthen and tighten the muscles in the vaginal canal. Well, yes, that might be true, but just because we're tight doesn't mean we're strong. So I have women who come and say, I'm doing my Kegels every day. I'm so proactive with my exercise. I'm doing crunches. I'm running. I'm getting shit done. I'm like, okay, well, stop. Stop. If you're feeling pain, if you're feeling urge, if you're feeling overwhelmed, like when you really do need strength, you can't find it. Well, that makes sense. Right? Yeah. That makes sense. Back off a little bit. And then when you need that strength, you'll be able to find it. And so that metaphor is pairing with the pelvic floor. I mean, if we're going to spend every day doing a million Kegels, and then we're out there playing with the kids or running around with the dog in the park and we're leaking, or we are somewhere where there's no toilet, God forbid, right? And we're like, gotta go, even though we're not really sure if we do. And then just that thought creates us to leak. That might mean that the pelvic floor muscles are just too tight. And so when we keep something tight all the time, it doesn't mean that it's strong. We need to relax it as well.
That's a great message, because we get all caught up in this concept and do and think we're doing the right thing, and it's actually the opposite that we need to be doing. And yes, Carrie, Julie knows what she's talking about. She's here to help. She's here to give us some guidance on this. You did mention anxiety, but how does anxiety affect our pelvic floor?
So this is part of my pelvic floor story. I lost my hearing 7 years ago, just in one ear. But when you have vertigo just about all the time, that really heightens anxiety. And so any anxiety, regardless of where or how it comes from, what happens when we feel anxious? We tend to clench, right? So when we clench, some of these muscles that are deep in our stability system, core, pelvic floor, clench. And so I feel, and I'm absolutely testament to the fact that when we clench, we tighten. When we tighten, then we can feel pain. I went through a long period of time when intercourse was painful. Sitting for any long period of time was painful. What a drag. You know, my work is very physical. I'm a yogi. And so I don't want to live with pain. So I really had to back off and recognize, hey, you're clenching. And now, because I do this work all the time and I'm so aware of the breath and I'm so aware of the muscles of my pelvic floor, and when I am clenching, when I am holding pain, when I am holding anxiety in my body, I can redirect and I can let it go. Sometimes it takes some time, but yeah, anxiety can wreak havoc on the tissues deep in the body.
Yeah, and again, we're not always connecting all these things, so it's good that we're talking about this and making people realize there is a connection. For our listeners out there, if anybody has any comments or questions, please put in the comment section. We're happy to address those. Meanwhile, I know you also love laughter. What are the benefits of a laughter practice?
Oh my goodness. So listen, Michelle, like a couple years ago, one of these ladies who came to one of my events comes up to me and says, I leak when I laugh, so I just stopped laughing.
Mhm.
I know. It broke my heart, right?
Yeah.
So that is a line, that is a story that I mention in every single one of my events. And every single time I have the opportunity to share about this, because I never want anyone to stop laughing, right? So that being said, I am a certified laughter yoga leader, and yes, it's a thing. There is this fabulous program called Laughter Yoga International, and there are over 20,000, probably way more than that. That was just the last time I looked at their website. Laughter clubs around the world. Laughter is so beneficial; it's ridiculous. The list of benefits is longer than anything I've ever taught. So laughter yoga began back in 1995, if I'm remembering correctly. A doctor in Mumbai, India, was doing research for an article he was writing on the benefits of laughter. And so he went to the local park. And in India, there are many people who walk every day in the local parks, like here in our country, but also many more. So he asked many people that day to join his laughter club, right? And this was back when he was still on the drawing board doing the research for the benefits of laughter. So he got maybe 4 people, and he asked, I don't know, 100, 200. And so they met and they had this laughter club, and they met every week and they would tell jokes. And very soon thereafter, the jokes dried up and got offensive. But it wasn't very funny, right? After a while, it was like, huh. So he went back to the drawing board and he had some conversations with his wife, who is a yoga teacher. And she said, breathing, breathing and laughter
Mhm.
have the same list of benefits. So laughter yoga was started, and now there are, like I said, thousands and thousands of yoga laughter clubs around the world. So in Celebrate the Pelvic Floor, that is something that we practice at all of our events and in my online course. Plus, I don't want women to stop laughing if they're
No.
leaking. I want to stabilize your pelvic floor through laughter. Why not?
Yeah,
Right?
absolutely. You don't want someone to stop laughing.
Right.
That's not the choice. That's not the option. There is another option. So
Yes.
yes, wonderful.
Yes.
So, Julie, in case our audience is interested in reaching out to you, I know you offer kind of a freebie. It's 3 tips for the pelvic floor stability. Tell us a little bit about that. Meanwhile, I'll pop up your website here so people can reach out to you and get more information. And I will post in the comments where people can sign up for your mailing list and get this freebie.
Okay, yeah, I have a freebie called Top 3 Tips for Pelvic Floor Stability. Go to my website, and the first link up there is get your freebie. So you can get your freebie on my website. And thank you. Yeah, you can share that link straight to my mailing list, which will get you the freebie. Rest assured, I don't send out a whole ton of emails every week, every other day. That's not my jam. I send out emails probably every couple of weeks, and it's information about the pelvic floor. It's information about events like this. I do free events now and then. We always have laughter and dancing and yoga and breath work and just this sharing and stories and women supporting women. So you'll get all the deets on that when you sign up for my mailing list. And I just love to connect with any of you. I have women now and then just emailing or texting, uh, sometimes getting phone calls, which is always great. And they want to share their story. And that is my mission. I want women to share their story. I want women to talk about this. This is an important topic. This is nothing to be ashamed about. We don't need to bring shame and keep shame in that body, when we can be celebrating instead. So please feel free to reach out to me and share your story and ask your questions. I'm here for you. I'm here for you. I truly am.
Yeah, I love your mission, and I'm so glad you're there for women to reach out to, ask questions. There's no silly question. Every
Right.
question is valid. You're in the middle of a relaunch, right?
I sure am. I'm really excited about that. So get on my mailing list and you'll get all the deets on that. My online course is coming out again very soon. 2021, 2021,
We're
2021. We're all
all excited
celebrating
about
2021,
2021.
right? Yeah. So my online course is coming out again very soon. And so a lot of really fun and exciting bonuses and information and just lots of fun coming up.
Yeah, so Julie's here in the Annapolis area with me, but with the online courses, you can reach out from wherever you are. Feel free to reach out and get involved in that and learn more, or refer your friends. Anybody who has told you that they have leakage or pain with sex or any of these issues, please feel free to share with your friends as well. So,
Yes.
Julie, it's been a pleasure having you on and helping educate our audience. Anything you would like to share in closing tonight?
I love to say it's never too late to put your pelvic floor first. So if you're thinking about your mom, if you're thinking about your auntie who is like, oh, I don't pay any attention to that place anymore. Well, it's our sacred space. It's never too late to put your pelvic floor first. And again, go to my website, get on my mailing list, make sure you're getting all the deets, all the exciting stuff that's coming up. I look forward to connecting with you all. Thanks, Michelle.
You're welcome. Addie, thanks for joining us. Yes, thanks to Julie for all this great information. For any of you who catch us in replay, please reach out to Health and Taxes on YouTube. You can catch the replay there. Any comments or questions you have, Julie or I will be happy to follow up and answer those. In the meantime, I will be back next Wednesday with another health and wellness topic. Next Sunday with another health and wellness topic for you at 7:30 p.m. East. But thank you, everybody, for joining us. Julie, thank you so much for coming on the show, and have a good evening. Bye-bye.